Hey guys, so this video is kind of like part 2 to the video that I just did. So like when you watch this video, it's going to be the video that's right above this one entitled Healing from the Things That You Don't Know You Need to Heal From. And so like in that video, I kind of just walked you guys through what God did for me, how God began to start healing me from the things that I didn't know that I needed to heal from. Just kind of giving my testimony and using like something that he did with me as an example. But of course, God is like, okay, you have to give them tips. You have to give them tips and steps that they can use to get to that breakthrough that you have gone through, to be able to get to that healing place that you have gone through with these areas and with these wounds and everything. So give them the steps, give them the tips. So there are 5 steps and 5 tips to be able to help you to start healing from the things that you don't know that you need to heal from. These are the things that you don't realize. These are the things from like the past and, going back to that place, the childhood trauma and the early childhood and back in the day trauma and hurt that has been left unaddressed that you haven't really dealt with. And these steps and tips that I'm giving you is to start getting you to that place, to start helping you in your healing journey, to begin to start working and healing from those things of your past, right? Okay, so tip one, is the first thing you have to do is to start praying. You have to start praying, asking God. You have to inquire of God about this and say, God, I need you to help me. I need you, God. I know what's going on right now. I know the things that I need to heal from, God, but there's things that's happening in me. There are roots and things within me that I don't even know. And I need you to give me the grace and I need you to help me. And God is going to help you. Trust me. But you have to inquire of him about it. You have to take it to him. God, I need to be healed. I want to be healed from everything. I don't want to just be healed from this and keep going through these same cycles. God, help me. So number one, you have to pray and you have to inquire to God about those things, because again, you don't know it. You don't know what those things are. You don't realize what those things are. So step 2. Now this is like the biggest, but also the toughest part of this process, because step 2 involves going back to the event. And I know for me, certain things have been hard. And for a lot of you guys that are going to come across this video and watch this and trying to, get to going through this process, there's a lot of things that has happened in your past that is like really hard for you to touch or really hard for you to go back to. It's like, I don't want to think about that stuff. I don't want to, or even it's like when you begin to think about it and begin to sit in that stuff, it's like, it's too hard. It's too overwhelming. It's too painful. But trust me, you have to go through this. The end result is your healing. The end result is for you to finally be able to get past these things so that you can move on into the destiny that God has for you. And so it's the overcoming. It's the overcoming. In order for you to overcome, you have to go through it. You have to go through it. You have to face it. You have to sit with it. So step 2 is to sit with the event. And when I say sit with the event, I mean really, you have to take yourself back to that event, like exactly what happened. You just have to sit in it and replay it. I'm not saying, you don't replay it over and over and over for a whole week. No, like take that time out. Take that time out of your day. You said, you know what, God, I'm about to deal with this. I'm about to address this today. And make that time and sit with God and just close your eyes and take yourself back to that situation, to that event, whatever that hurt is, whatever that situation that you went through. You have to take yourself back to that and really like sit. And when I say sit, I'm talking about you have to be back in that place, like remembering the surroundings, remembering the smell, like down to like, what was I thinking? What was going on in my mind? Like anything that is going to like really take you back to that place, you have to think about all those little details and stuff, because you really want to take yourself back to it. You have to. We trying to heal from this. You're trying to heal from this situation, from this event. So you have to go back to that place. So that's step 2. Now that's the hardest part. That's going to be the hard part, going back to that place, because like I said, sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to go back to those places of pain. It's difficult to go back to that hurt, you know, especially if it's something that you have thrown to the back burner and you haven't addressed this. It's hard. So step 3 is now the doing the work part. That's the journaling. That's the sitting with it and writing about it, and you know, really getting down to the bottom of it, really doing the addressing, because it's like now you done set with it. You took yourself back to that place. So now we have to address it. So this is like the journaling part. This is like the writing it out. And this is what I recommend you do. This is what helped me. So I'm only telling you like what the process that God took me through and how it helped me to go through that process. Is I wrote that out as like a story. The event, what you want to do is like write it out as if it's a story. Like imagine you writing like a book, or you telling this story to somebody else through your writing. Write it out as a story, exact word for word, everything that happened, every detail. You have to get to the bottom of this. Write it out, write it out, write it out, word for word, everything. Don't leave nothing out of it. Write it out, like down to the characters of it, you and the people or the person involved. Write it out, like characters, everything about it. Write it out. Exactly how you took yourself back to that place in the vision, sitting with it. Then you're going to now write it out. And then once you write it out, so now you're free. You're free from the event because you done sat with it. Now you done wrote it. You done took it a step further. You wrote it out. So you have now addressed that event. You have now taken yourself back to that event as much as you can, right? And so now you begin to journal. You begin to ask yourself questions like this is the addressing it and exploring it and getting to the healing for you, healing for yourself with it. You start asking yourself, you ask yourself these questions and start answering it like, how did this make me feel? What was the aftermath of this situation? Other things you ask yourself, how has what happened from this event, how has this like traveled with me in my life? How has this been attached to me throughout my life? Where has my feelings from this event shown up in other areas of my life over the years, even right now? What happened in that event that's still happening today? How did it affect me? How did, you know, the people, like if it's people from that situation that hurt you, like what would you say to those? Ask yourself these questions. If these people were sitting in front of me right now, what would I say to them? Write that out. What would you say if you could say anything to them? If it's you forgiving them and just wanting them to know that you forgive them for whatever they did to you, or if it was like this anger that you have towards them that you've been holding, write that out. Write it to them. I feel like this happened and you did this and I was angry, and I write that out. Write to the people. Say their names. Say that. Write their names on the paper. Some of these people you probably never been able to even speak their names because it's such a place of shame. Write their names out. Write their names out. Write first and last names if you can. Speak it like this is your power. This is your power. See, the devil don't want you to know this. The devil don't want you to step into this. The devil doesn't want you to be free. But this is where your power is going to start coming from those events, from those situations, from those things that happened in your past. So get to the bottom of it. Write it out. Ask yourself these questions. And then the last question that you should ask yourself when you're going through this and doing that journaling and doing the work, ask yourself, okay, I've went through this. Why am I able, or how am I going to be able, or why am I able to face this and now let this go and move on with my life? That's going to be the most important question that you're asking yourself, because you've went through the process now. You've dealt with it. You went back to the place, but now it's all about, how am I able to overcome this? How am I able to get past this? Why? I done sat down and I've addressed this. Now, why am I going to be able to get past this? How am I now able to face this, face it, see it for what it is, address this, and how am I moving on from this point? Now I've addressed it. So how am I able to now move forward and move past this? Okay, that's going to be step 3. Step 4 now is to pray. So from you doing that work, from you going back to that event, from you even in step 1 inquiring of God about that thing or these things, these events, these situations that you need to heal from, God has now showed you so much stuff. He brought that event back up. He shows you that those areas where you still hurting. He showed you those roots. He showed you those wounds that still open, that need to be healed, that need to be addressed. He showed you this through this process, through you addressing this, through you sitting with this. So now those very things, you have to go take that back to God, and you have to now start speaking to those things and start praying to those things. So for example, if in you doing this, work, in you doing this process, let's say rejection, let's say rejection came up for you when you were doing this work, when you were going through this process, you then now have to start taking that to God. God, I see this root of rejection. You shown me that somewhere I have been rejected. You've shown me how this rejection has affected me so much, God. So now I am now speaking to this. I am now bringing this to you. I am now asking you to help me. I need you to help me to heal from this spirit of rejection. I need you to help me, Lord. Where have I felt rejected? Why am I still feeling rejection? What can I do? Like, you have to bring it to God, and you have to be sincere. That's the type of stuff that you begin to start taking in prayer and taking to him, and giving him the burdens of it, giving him the worry and the anxiety about it, giving it to him, surrendering it to him, so that he can begin doing what he needs to do to help you with that area, to help you with that rejection. Again, that's just an example. Whatever it is that comes up for you in your process, you have to take it. Now you have to now take those things to God, so now he can do what he needs to do with it for your healing, so you can get to that place of healing. Now, step 5, this is the last step. This is where your power and your authority and the work that you have to do, because God is going to take that and do what he needs to do with it. But now you still have to finish up with this last step, and that is now breaking down the lies, breaking down that situation, breaking down those wounds. And that's what you're doing when it comes to that. What you're doing in that area is to start speak your healing, speak your deliverance. Like, there is power of life and death in your tongue. You have to know that there is authority in your tongue. If you want to be free from this, if this is something that you feel like you have not been able to overcome, if it's something that you know it keeps coming back up, God, I feel like I cannot get over this, I feel like I cannot heal from this, you have to start declaring it, decreeing it, and speaking it from your mouth. That is your power. That is your power against the lies. That is your power against the enemy. That your freedom lies right in your tongue. So you start speaking, you start pulling down those lies. It's like you got to take like a hammer or like a sword or something, some type of something, where you just like tearing it down, like all the lies. Because see, the devil, because of that situation, there's so many lies that the devil has tried to use to keep you in that place, to keep you in that bondage, to keep you feeling like that, to keep that spirit of whatever that thing is attached to you. So now you have to start reversing and canceling and tearing all that stuff down, and knocking it out every time it comes back up. Every time it comes back up, like I said, if rejection was the thing, that God showed you, that that you need to heal from, that you're trying to get past, you got to start speaking to that. Start speaking to that rejection. That rejection is not my portion. Rejection is not my portion. Lord, I was not rejected. I was not rejected. Lord, you saved me from these situations. Lord, you protected. You have to start speaking to the truth. You sitting around feeling like, oh, you've been rejected all this time in your life. Those are lies. Those are lies. You have not been rejected. God has protected you from these situations. He has taken you through these certain situations in your life for a reason. And you can't be walking around feeling like, oh, I've just been so rejected. No, God, you see it for what it is. God, you protected me. God, you brought me out of these things that I didn't even know. These people that I didn't even know that wasn't meant for me, that I should have never been attached to. You start speaking to the truth, and you got to start tearing down those lies of the enemy, because because the enemy wants you to stay in the spirit of rejection. The enemy doesn't want you to be free. The enemy wants you to stay in that bondage of feeling like wherever you go, whoever you come in contact with, whatever job you try to get, whoever you try to be in a relationship with, whatever environments or these doors that you go in, wherever you go, you're going to face this reject. That's what the devil wants you to believe, but that is a lie. That is a lie. So you have to start canceling and having authority over those lies and seeing it for what it is, and start speaking your freedom over it. Start speaking it out your mouth. Your power is in your tongue, and start defeating those lies, defeating the enemy when he tries to come against you. When he starts bringing, like for example, this event that you're trying to get past. When he started bringing that event back up, I'm free. I'm healed from that. Devil, you gonna have to try to do something else. You gonna have to use something. You can't even use that with me no more, because I'm free from it. I've dealt with this. God has delivered me from this. God has healed me from this. So I'm not gonna go back. I'm not gonna go back to that place. I'm not gonna go back feeling sorry for myself. I'm not about to take myself back to that place, because my healing is already here. My deliverance is already here. So you have to start speaking to it. Start walking in authority. Start walking in your healing and declaring it and decreeing it and speaking it out of your mouth. Those are the 5 steps. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Let me know. Let me know if this resonated. Let me know, if this is something that you go work on and it works for you. Come back and let me know. Ash, this helped me. This worked for me. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video.